there YouTube, and welcome back. I've decided that I have got myself 2 reading challenges this year. I want to read 36 books, which doesn't sound a lot, but that's 3 a month, and I think that's more than enough because I love reading. I enjoy it. I don't want to make it stressful. And also I've been looking at my shelf. Sorry, got a huge stack of books here. I've been looking at my shelf and I've picked out the books that have been on there the longest. I've picked one for each month, so here they are. And basically I put them in a jar, my little chip cup. I put each one of them in here, and I'm going to pick one out every month when I do my TBRs. For my TBR jar, my prompts, I'll pick up 4, one from each colour: green, yellow, pink and blue. And then I will also pick out one from Chip, and the one I pick out from Chip will be one of these 12 that I definitely want to be off my TBR shelf by the end of the year. And I will read them. The first book I pick up of that month will be the one out of here, so that I definitely will get it read or DNF, depends on if I enjoy it or not. So I'll quickly run through the books that I've got here, and then we'll sort out my TBR for January. With these 12, I'm just going to tell you the titles and the author. I won't tell you too much about it because we'll get into that when I pick them for the TBR and when I do my wrap-ups. So first off, Unknown Girl by Karen Perry. Had this on my shelf for about 3 years. Mirror Mirror, which is one of the Disney's Twisted Tales by Jenny Calatina. Hope I said that right. Apologies if not. Snow White retelling, or Twisted Tale, obviously. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Ardeen. I hope I've got that right. Do apologise if I get any names wrong. And this one is a Russian folklore, like Russian-inspired story. The Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. As again, really sorry if I got any of these wrong. And yep, looks a good one. All about cooking and baking. Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, a retelling of Ursula. Legendary by Stephanie Garber, second in the Caravel. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, first one in the series. Fangirl by Rainbow Rao. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. That's a first in a duology. Third in a trilogy, The Mistborn, Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, sorry. And I Owe You One by Sophie Kinsella, and also by Sophie Kinsella, Surprise Me. These have both been on my shelves for a couple of years as well. Most of them have been on my shelf for at least a year, if not more. That's why I want them off my shelf, and I want to have been able, well, off my TBR shelf at least, and be able to have read them and enjoy them, because at one time I was so excited about each and every one of these books on here, and it's a shame that I've seemed to have lost enthusiasm for them. So that's why I'm doing the chip jar. They are all going to be read and hopefully enjoyed as much as I first thought I would. Right, on to doing my January TBR. Obviously I'm going to do my chip one of my 12 will be read. So I'm going to get it going, and we're going to start with this one. So off of my 12 books that will be read this year, I am going to read I Owe You One by Sophie Kinsella. So there we go. I have no idea what this is about, but it's all it's got on the back is blurbs from other authors and things, and apparently it's absolutely fantastic, funny, really well liked. So yeah, so it should be a good read. Can't wait to get into it. Now I'm going to do my TBR jar, so I'm going to dip it into a box because it'd be easier to get to. And I've got lots and lots of prompts in here for different books, obviously. And I've got all the different colours, so I think I'm going to start with pink, which is, sorry, dropped it, here we are. Finish a DNF. Right. The only book at the moment that I can think of that I DNF'd is The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily X.R, which it follows a girl whose mother sadly commits suicide, and she goes on an adventure with this red bird following her, which she sees as her mother that's come back to guide her, and she goes to meet her family in Taiwan because she's part Taiwanese, so she goes over to learn the culture of her family, her mother's side of the family. I did start reading this. I stopped just because hit quite close to home with some of the trigger warnings with obviously suicide and got a bit of depression and things like that, and it just hit a bit too close to home, but it's still a fantastic book, and I really am glad that I'm going to hopefully get to finish it this time round. Right, so I've done pink. I'm going to go on to my favourite colour now, green. There we go, and oh, green and a green book. And right, I don't have many green books, but I have decided, because it's got a green spine and it's got green poison on it, I'm going to read The Odd Sisters, which is another, well, it's not the Twisted Tales exactly, it's retellings of the the villain's stories, and it's by Serena Valentino. And basically throughout the stories they have had these 3 odd sisters, triplets, who have been in all of the villain stories, and they seem to be the ones that have actually created the villains and put them on the path to their villainous ways. And now we've got a book about who they are and what they are. So yes, can't wait to get into this one. And I have got a middle grade, and I am so glad to have this, because there's one that I got for Christmas that I really can't wait to read. Okay, so my middle grade is going to be Frostheart by Jamie Littler. Well, this has been doing the rounds on YouTube, and it follows a boy called Ash who is whisked away on something called the Frostheart, and it's on to it's an explorer sled, and he's with his Yeti guardian, very grumpy, and it just sounds so sweet and wonderful, and I'm just going to enjoy finding all the pictures inside and just enjoying it. So another one that I'm really pleased about. And now that just leaves us with blue. So I am going to pick this blue, and we have got Under the Sea. Right, I don't have many Under the Sea books that I haven't read, so I have picked out The Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, which obviously is one of my 12 books to be read by the end of the year. So if I do manage to read this and I Owe You One in January, then I will add on another book to my 12 books that need to be read by the end of the year, and replace this one. And if not, well, then it's still in my chip jar, and I will hopefully get to it in one of the months. So yes, so that is my January TBR pile. And as I said, this one is definitely going to be read first, because it's in my 12 books that need to be read in 2020, and then the rest of them. So I've got I Owe You One by Sophie Kinsella, The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily X.R. The Odd Sisters by Serena Valentino, Frostheart by Jamie Littler, and Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. So yes, that is what I'm going to be reading in January, and I can't wait, so excited. Please let me know what you're reading in January, and let me know what you are most excited about, and I will see you again very